welcome to Flashback. The games you loved, the stories you forgot. This is episode 33, and this week we're in September 2009. I'm RGT, and as always, I'm joined by the guy who is the perfect innovator in this planned farming simulator, has a lot of affection for his awesome collection. Let the hours fly by while he was in No Man's Sky. That's UCP George. How you doing, George?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm trying to be as hirsute as you for the audio listeners who haven't caught up on the main show. You've grown what can only be described as a Ming the Merciless beard, and if this was a video show, they'd have seen me drawing mine in with Bic pen. I'm doing well. I am reflected in your glory, if I'm honest with you. I aspire to be everything you are. And
I don't think you do.
I do.
Really?
Yeah. What a great bastion of a man you are. Great father, loving husband, conscientious colleague, great podcaster, plays the odd video game. Who wouldn't want to be you?
I feel there's a but here.
But. No, there is no but. It's all true. All of it.
The dangerous pause and then the but.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you.
Oh,
it's very kind of you.
It's all true. It's all true.
Thank you. That's
everyone can. Yeah, everyone can just relax. It's going to be one of those nice episodes. They're going to settle into their car. They're just lean back, put their headphones on, not lean back in the car, not put their headphones on. But people are listening and they're like, "This is nice."
Exactly. And this is like we say. This is September 2009. And with all the rubbish news that's going on in gaming now, which is negative, forget all that. You're on Flashback now. September 2009. This is when gaming was good, when everyone enjoyed it, when there wasn't so much bad news. So let's have a look through at some games, have a bit of news. What would be hoping to play? A bit of film. Let's have a visit from Stingray and just have an hour and a half of enjoying games again. I think that would be the main thing.
So you set your stall at hour and a half.
Hour and a half ish. Go on, George. I'll let you go first. What are you gonna
I'm gonna pick the often overlooked MotorStorm Arctic Edge. I'm gonna pick the PSP variant, and I think you can pick it up on PS2 from memory. But
PSP came out first actually, and the PS2 was after.
Yeah, I think I might have it on PS2, but I wouldn't like to 100% say that I do. But I've definitely played the wheels off of this on PSP. Everything that you want from a MotorStorm game in your pocket. This thing looks fantastic. It goes well. The visual effects that you see around you are fantastic. Like, yeah, okay, we're not reaching the lofty heights of the PS3's MotorStorm, but we're certainly hitting some sort of high watermarks for PSP. And to be honest with you, I'd argue the game's benefited from its move to PSP because it's made it more pick up and play. It's made it more accessible. It's made it more almost fun to play. Not that MotorStorm's a chore in any way, but the size of the levels and the expansiveness of the competitors that you play with and the varying different terrains and whatnot that you fight on within those is kind of eliminated on Arctic Edge, and it's a bit more of a straight racer RGT. And for me, for that reason, it's a glowing recommendation. And if you want something to stick in your PSP to make people go, "Oh, crikey, what's that?" It's this. Yeah, I've got a lot to sort of say about it. Well, I've kind of run out of things to say about it without going on. But yeah, great little title that if you've got a PSP, I implore you to pick it up. And if you're a PS2 collector, I would say, look, you know me, guys. I know absolutely nothing about price. I picked these things up for 50p a million years ago. It's RGT is probably going to do a price check in a minute and tell me it's about 400 quid. I doubt it, but definitely one that I think that you should pick out and add to your library. We've got a game coming up when Ray comes round that I think is the kind of yin to this game's yang. Looking forward to talk about that. But RGT, what's your pick of the games that you would have been playing at this time?
I will just have a quick word about Arctic Edge as well. Two things about it. One, I've said before, that was packed in with my PSP when I bought it, my PS3
Oh, it
3000.
was, yeah. So how did that feel, getting that brand new and slapping that in? Because that was your first kind of
First
like foray, wasn't it?
yep, of the PSP, and turning that on, and I did not expect it. I'd seen screenshots of PSP play, hadn't really played one, so actually turned on, getting that lovely bright screen, put an Arctic Edge in and playing. I was just like, wow, the sounds, the way it played. I thought
Yeah,
this is a handheld. Absolutely love it. Still love it to this day. But also, I was actually reading an article yesterday as of recording, um, online, and there was a guy who was comparing DS and PSP at the time. Um,
interesting.
and he'd done a few of the crossovers like Chinatown Wars.
Yeah.
Um, but then he said when you play games like MotorStorm Arctic Edge, you then realise that the PSP is such a step above anything that the DS could do. Graphically, he said you're then starting to think, hmm this is a PS2 in my pocket. This
Mm.
is actually, can you imagine having PS5 in your pocket nowadays or PS5 Pro in your pocket? That's the level of where they were at the time to put something that powerful in current gen in circulation. And he just said, yeah, Arctic Edge was the one where I thought, oof, yeah,
To your point
this is
earlier
good.
about GTA China Wars, I've played that on DS and I've also played that on PSP. What the DS had was the stylus that
Yep.
made some of those games make more sense. Hot wiring the car and doing the screws, all that sort of good
Mm,
stuff. It kind of like that game for me belongs on the DS. Its transfer to PSP felt a little clumsy, although I know a lot of people have played it there. It didn't transfer as well because of the interactivity with the stylus. But games like Arctic Edge, I think your man's correct. I
mm.
mean, compare that to a standard DS game without the stylus kind of one and done type scenario or the interactivity you get from that. PSP, hands down, a beautiful looking machine. It even, right on that little screen, even to this day, I still think it sets eyebrows up.
Mm. Oh, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, I've had a couple of games as my hidden gems from the PSP, and things like Fired Up and that you play now, and it just looks like a PS2 game. It's a great, very playable, great little game. Yet it's in your pocket. And also going back to Chinatown Wars, I think he was saying there was levels and that added into the PSP version.
It
Obviously,
came after, I think, didn't it?
yeah, and the graph, because obviously you could tell, like you said, that was made for the DS. But the PSP had a few extra horses under the bonnet and managed to make it look better, play better frame rates and that. But
Mm.
yeah, so great choice there, MotorStorm Arctic Edge. Keep with the racing theme. Um, I'm gonna go with Colin McRae Dirt 2.
I want
Um,
to know about this because I played the original, but when I saw Dirt 2 in the docket, I was like, I got to admit, I haven't done any Dirt 2. At least I don't
I
think I have, although I look at the box and it's one of those moments like, did I have this or did I not have this? What's happening?
This is in an era when I've always loved my racing games, but this was in an era where most of my games I would pick up second hand from Electronics Boutique or whatever, or Game or whatever the shop was at the time. I very rarely bought pre-order and bought new. The GTAs I'd buy like when GTA 4 and GTA 5 come out, but also Dirts. Once I played Colin McRae Dirt, the first one, I thought Codemasters have got something here. If they
What, let
go
me,
with a
can I
second,
stop you just for a second? What came first? Was it Grid or Dirt? Because both of those games sort of, to me, kind of recognize a significant shift in the way that Codemasters were presenting as their games.
I'm not sure. I'll come back to you on that. I'll have a quick look while you do your next game. But yeah, and then Colin McRae Dirt 2 came out, and obviously they went on to 3 and on to Showdown. And each one they stepped up. This one, I don't think they had a Gymkhana till 3. Um, but this one just had unique, I say unique. They added that real sort of arcade racer that was really popular at the time. You had Ken Block, RIP, you had him doing all these things.
Oh, God's sake, yeah.
And
Bless
then,
him.
yeah, and then you had, Travis Pastana was really big. He's in it. Tanner Faust, who was like, you had Ken Block, which was Monster Energy. You had Tanner Faust, which was Rockstar Energy. And they were the rallycross racers and rally drivers from America. And you had even Dave Meara's in it. And it was
What's he
just
doing in it?
Dave Mirra, I think he was, whether he was under one of Ken Block's teams at the time or whatever,
Mm,
but he appears in it. And you had things like rally race, and you had rally cross, hill climbing. Oh, hill climbing was so good because you had to get those real quick hill climb cars, and I just kept playing and playing, trying to get quicker and quicker. You had raid races as well, and land rush would come into it. Um, and they really built on each one, but this is the first one. I think they wanted the Colin McRae name. That was that slightly more rally inspired version.
agreed.
And then Dirt 2, they tried a little bit more and suddenly thought, this is something big here. And then with Free and Showdown, and they added in Gymkhana, and they added in demolition derbies. And I mean, I used to have when I had my game shed, even when these games were really old, 10 years old, my nephew would come round after school a couple of days a week. We'd look after him for a bit, and he'd be like, "Can I go in the game shed?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah, because you can." "Can I play Dirt?" "Yeah." And I was put Dirt on every week, and he just played Dirt. He
Wow.
used to love the demolition derbies because there were so many events, and I don't. I mean, if you look now as well, you think of how many racing games there are out at the moment, but there isn't really any like Dirt. You got things like Wreckfest and games like that, but there isn't none that had all them disciplines in and everyone was a banger. They
Mm,
normally, most racing games now prioritize one discipline and go off. I mean, you got your Forzas, that's more your open world, but this really just concentrated down on those disciplines and everyone played really well.
mm.
And I think that's something we miss nowadays. But yeah, Dirt 2, fantastic game. If you got an Xbox 360 or PS3 and you haven't played it, grab it. Grab it now. I wouldn't have thought it was very expensive. It's probably the curse of the podcaster, but there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dirt 2. What do you have next then, George?
I'm drawing a bit of a blank. The only other one I'm probably qualified to talk about is the Beatles Rock Band. There are places I remember. Some have gone and some remain. Um, I love the Beatles. I think that's not a secret. And the Beatles Rock Band is a great game. OG had this for the longest time, and to reveal a secret, it was kind of his code word for freaky time. If he was going to get a young lady around, they were going to play Beatles Rock Band. It was left to my imagination what would come from that. I can't imagine what that would
Oh, wow.
look like. But yeah, this game has done well since its release. I think there's a cracked version where you can like backfill the already quite large catalogue with every single Beatles song that's ever been done, and someone's arranged music in the background. So you would need to hack your PS3 to get access to that. Is, is it worth doing? Maybe. Have I done it? No. But it's that classic thing. I mean, I was looking the other day at trying to reacquire this or acquire this, and you can get the PS3 full set with like John or Paul's guitar that's bespoke to them. They did a little rock band version. You get it in a big crate, and it comes with like the drum kit and a little pop-up, fold away
Mm.
pop-up that says like it looks like the Beatles bass drum that you can put in front of the guitars. I think this was particularly interesting because it came with like either one or two guitars. It came with the mic stands because this was a full encompassed Beatles experience. You're all required to sing, someone was required to drum, two or three people on guitars. It's a fun time for all the family in the usual rock band affair, but to me, this one was more of a complete package. And with the help of Sean Ono Lennon, I believe, who was probably one of the first people to really push this. He was a younger lad at the time and obviously could see that there was an opportunity to walk his father's and the Beatles' wider legacy into the modern era. And I do believe that, a lot of people's maybe of the more later generations were inspired by this game and still a big following. So yeah, pick it up if you can. I'm looking to reacquire it. So yeah, hit me up if you've got a Beatles Rock Band full set for PlayStation sitting in your understairs cupboard because I'll be a willing recipient of that package. And if you're a collector, I mean, yeah, the box is massive, but what a lovely thing to have. And if that segues into your love of the Beatles as well, there is no better music simulator than this one, in my humble opinion.
Mm. Brilliant. Yeah. I don't know if that he's over here in Europe, but I know in America, Rock Band's still quite popular and quite collectible, and people still do, you know, jam out on those, which is brilliant. I didn't have the Beatles. Oh, I don't know if my mate had the Beatles one. My mate had the setup, drums and everything. And we used to get all of us together and play. Sounded
I've
awful, but it
got
was just great
the
fun.
Yeah, it is, and I picked up the standalone PS3 disc. You know, the standalone copy with none of the instruments, just to have in my little. I've got like a couple of glass areas in my lounge stroke gamer area. Probably ought to grow up a little bit, but in there next to the
No
Kiryu
comment.
statue is a copy of Beatles Rock Band, which to me it just holds significant nostalgia value. I don't know why I'm holding nostalgia for Tom's code word for sex, but there you go. What's your next pick, RGT?
Well, I will just say on that, funny story. It's a bit of an only fools and horses moment. Actually happened to me and my brother-in-law when we had the shed. He come round one night, and funny enough, he used to actually sometimes come round in his pajamas and slippers and bike up the road. So when he went home, he could just go straight to bed. He come up the shed. Should we play Rock Band? I was like, yeah, all right, play Rock Band. He said, but your sister said I can't be late. All right, we'll play a few tunes. We'll have a couple of beers, and I've got to be back. All right, because we're out tomorrow. I said, yeah, no problem. Anyway, played in Rock Band for a bit, and he went, right, okay, I'm gonna have to go. I said, yeah, no problem. All right, mate. I'll see you out. I'll lock the shed up. He's like, yeah, no worries. He said, do you know what the time is anyway? I went, no. Opened the door, daylight. And he's gone, what? Look down. What time is it? I was like, it's 10 to 6 in the morning. Off he, I just got this vision of him in his pajamas, his cycle helmet on, his Darth Vader slippers, biking off on a quiet sunny morning
What time did
road.
he get there?
About 8 o'clock the previous night, and we were playing Rock Band, Guitar Hero. He got me into those. I wasn't even into him. He gave me a couple of guitars. He was mad on them, and we just got right into it and played all night. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was that moment when the doors opened, daylight. What time is it? Well, yes,
Good.
yeah,
Oh,
fantastic times. But that's just how addictive that game was. Just wanting to
still
play.
married to his sister, is he?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I got the blame for that. So
I mean, let's face it, if anyone's getting blamed for anything, you take it so well.
take one for the team.
Yeah, like no one else I've ever known. You just saunter up and take a full shot.
Mm.
There's no one like you.
No, I'm happy to. I'm happy to.
What's your
Um,
next pick out? Because I've got a million honorable mentions of games I probably should have played but never did.
yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
again in this moment, I just welcome the arrival of my second child, my son. So yeah, games were on a little bit of
yeah.
a lesser important area for me.
Yeah, I can believe that. Um, yeah, well, my final game before I do some honorable mentions is another one, which was a ex-hidden gem of mine, which is on the Wii, which is Cursed Mountain. Um,
Mm.
now, if you haven't heard of Cursed Mountain, it literally is survival. Yeah, survival horror. As a mountain climber set in these mountains. And the thing I loved about it is the controls now are a little bit clunky. It's a little bit Resident Evil 4 over the shoulder sort of game. Um, but it feels so out of place on the Wii. I know there's other games like Silent Hills and that on there, but that white case and then you got a horror game, you just think, oh,
Mm.
this don't really go hand in hand. But it looks good for the system. It plays well. It's quite creepy. These ghosts appearing as you climb up the mountain. I think it's a great little game. Again, was cheap. So I'm not saying it probably is now. It's probably something I need to look up. But it used to be a very, very cheap little game. And I think if you got a Wii, that's great, great fun game to play. Very unusual. I think it only got a Windows port. Never came to anything else. So it's the only place you're really going to play it unless you've got a bit of a Wayback
Makes
Machine
sense, doesn't it?
on your PC. And exclusive as well, which was an unusual place. If you'd made this game, it's an unusual place to put it as an exclusive, but it definitely shows all the different genres you can have on the Wii. Have you played this, George?
I haven't. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those cases that stares you in the face the minute you walk into CEX. It's normally there, sat, like his hand reaching out to you, and you're like, oh, yeah, Curse Mountain. I've never felt the need to pick it up, but now you've mentioned that, you said it was your hidden gem.
I've just
Um,
checked it, £3. There you
wow.
go. £3, £5 if you want to pick this up. So, like I say, control's a little bit clunky now, but it's just It's just different enough on that system to, rather than your standard shovelwares and Wii Sports and all that sort of thing, to have something just a little bit different.
For me, this is a sort of game that they should have explored a little bit more.
Mm,
Um, they're that Bayer. Oh God, what's that game called? Where you the one that's famous on Wii, where you've got the sword. Is it
not Red Baron,
Red Steel or something?
Red
I can't.
Steel, Red Steel. Yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
that the right name,
I
or are you
think it
just
is.
gone with
Yeah,
it because it sounds right? Anyway, there were those games where they were more hack and
Red
slash, and
Steel. Yeah, they done a
they were
second as
more
well.
innovative with the way that you use the remote in a more mature way, rather than just bowling or whatnot. They'd kind of explored the mechanics of swinging a sword or Curse Mountain, no doubt climbing a mountain, doing all the things that are associated with that. To me, that was like a big open goal as to what the Wii could have been, but they kind of never really pushed it. And I know third-party developers didn't really know what to do with the Wii. You've only got to walk into a second-hand outlet and look at the variety of Wii games where people have maybe tried a little bit of something, but more often than not, they normally devolve down to a variation on bowling or some other drivel, don't they?
Mm,
Carnival of Games, all that sort of stuff was born out
yeah,
of the Wii and Connect and Move era, and yeah, there ended up being way more of that than innovative sort of ideas, exploring new avenues, and I think that is in detriment to the Wii. Yeah, it sold gangbusters, the Wii, but I think a lot of those units were sold to grandparents who used it once or twice for the balance board and then never looked at it again.
yeah. And I think you
Bit of
got.
a
I know
shame.
you did get Wii versions of games, but you mostly got. I think because of the underpowered nature of the Wii and the route they'd gone down compared to the 360 and PS3. Like you'd have Silent Hill Homecoming, for instance, on the PS3, but you'd get a different Silent Hill version on the Wii just because of you didn't get the same sort of game. So I think
No,
games like Cursed Mountain being a unique exclusive, I'm surprised they didn't do more of these sort of games where the only place you could play it rather than a lesser version or a spin-off.
yes.
But yeah, so I'd definitely recommend for £3, £3, I should say £5. Yeah, definitely pick it up. Um, what's some of your honourable mentions in
Honourable
young George?
mentions then. Starting at the top and working down. Um, Honourable mention goes out to Scribblenauts. That was a very popular game at the time.
Mm,
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, very popular game at the time. Need for Speed Shift, relatively popular entry into the Need for Speed world. It's kind of surprised you haven't played that one, RGT, but
I have played Need for Speed Shift and Shift 2, but they were games that there was that sort of funny time at the Need for Speed name and who licenses and bits and pieces, and they sort of spun off in this more serious route. And I don't know if it done them any good doing that. They eventually
no,
swerved
agreed.
back round to the street race, and then although decent enough game, it's not one that if you look at best Need for Speed games, I don't think many people mention them to be honest. But
No, no. And maybe a shame because I think they were trying to follow the market, but the market did not want them to go down this route. So it
it's
was one
almost
of
sort
those
of a
moments.
grid rival, weren't it? It was sort of down
Yeah,
that route, and
totally. Yeah, and as I said before, like Grid and Dirt were kind of hitting the tracks, and Forza was getting, lots of traction there, pun intended. You had the Immortal Gran Turismo doing its thing, and it makes absolute sense to me that EA wanted to have a go, but and it's not a bad game. It just doesn't stick. Last two honourable mentions from me, RGT. We've got Persona, the PSP port, which I've got sat on the shelf and need to rip into because I love all the other Personas. So why would I not love this? It's just committing to the PSP for probably 40 hours seems a little bit more of a stretch than I've got in me right now.
carpal tunnel oncoming.
Exactly, or worse. And then Halo 3 ODST. Um, I actually think this has been. It went down well at the time, but I think a few people have kind of gone back to it as a bit of a maybe a hidden gem of the Halo franchise. But yeah, a lot to be said for Orbital Drop Shot Troopers.
Mm.
Um, Probably my last one. I don't want to kick the wheels out because you've got to pick some out here. Is probably Ruse: The Art of Deception. This was everywhere. back in the day. Every episode I come along and I talk about the game that was on bus stops, on the back of buses. It was in game when you walk by. It was pushed down your throat. It was in every magazine I picked up. You'd think it'd be my kind of thing. It's a real-time tactical strategy game. But the idea of this, based on like the World War II fake armies that the British Secret Service built, where I think they engaged a magician or someone who was into tricks and, stage deception to develop a load of inflatable tanks and fake cut-out planes that were placed in certain areas of the UK to convince the Germans that we had a certain force in a certain place that we didn't have, while we were hiding all the other stuff that we were preparing to sail across the channel and stick right up them. Ruse kind of takes that idea and riffs it on into a game where you kind of like reveal some things and don't reveal others. To me, it didn't quite hit. Like, I bounced off it more times than I've had hot dinners. So if you've had some experience of Ruse in a positive fashion, let me know about that, because maybe I need to take another critical reassessment. If memory serves, the magazines weren't too favourable. Maybe 6 out of 10s max from memory. So approach with caution. But if you're looking for a RTS on PS3 or Xbox and you've done all the others, maybe give Ruse a try. But as I say, approach cautiously.
Sounds a unique story as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I probably embellished it way more than they ever did, but that was the idea behind it. Because I remember a lot of the sort of previews sort of brought that up, and I remember reading that going, yeah, I know that's true because I've read about that separately. So that's quite an interesting
Mm.
premise to take a game down. I don't know as you use. Oh, I can't remember. It's been a long time. Anyway, RGT, what have you got in the docket, my friend?
A game that I'm picking up very soon, actually. E7 out September 17th, 2009.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to get into a few more of the Ease games, and I've
They're
been trying.
real-time fighting though, aren't these?
Yes, yeah, action
Yeah,
RPGs, yeah, and
yeah.
they're always raved about 7 and 8, and the 2 or 3 new ones have got come out, and everyone seems to rave about them. So I thought I'd start getting them from the Switch and stuff, and yeah, I thought, well, E7 would be a good one to start with. So yeah, I definitely like the looks of that. Dead Space Extraction. We were talking about
Mm.
Wii's and getting their own sort of spin-off versions of games. I have got this, still haven't played it, but I've heard good things, using that motion control for shooting, but in a Dead Space world, which actually, yeah, I quite like the idea of that. Actually doing the shooting yourself, where you can't remember what the guns are called, like them razor guns, where you fire the blades and that out, and you have to,
Mm.
I can't remember what they're called, and hit them in the legs and stuff, disable them. I think that would be a good, almost having a few friends around and playing through Dead Space Extraction seems good fun. Um,
Yeah, I
and
don't know what it's
finally,
called, that weapon, to be fair.
I can't think what that's called.
It's like a
Um,
laser, isn't it?
yeah, comment down below. You'll probably know. I think it's
It's,
actually like a sort of uh,
it's got
like a
like a
contractor's,
multi-tool or
yeah, sort of
something.
contractor's tool, isn't it? And you,
Mm.
um, and finally, one that, although I don't own now, used to have great fun with my friends who sort of got me the confidence to do it. And that was SingStar. He had the SingStar mics, and we used to
Yeah, you're
again.
right. I've undersold myself. I used to play a lot of SingStar on PS2. In fact, my wife at the time went out one day labeling me crap at the game when I was crap. And I worked my socks off on like a Westlife song. She came back. I was like, oh, let's have a look at this. I gave my best efforts, and it was still very similar. I mean, you've heard my lyrical efforts on the show, so you can imagine what that sounded like.
Well, I would love to hear it. I reckon that was beautiful.
Mm,
Yeah, it was.
she didn't appreciate it.
I would. Um, yes, I think that's probably it for what we would have probably been playing at that time. Just seeing if there's any more. Don't think so. I know there's that tornado outbreak, which is quite collectible now on the PlayStation 3. That's quite popular with PS3 collectors, and there's a bit of a hidden gem. Um, I don't know if that had a PAL release or not. I know it's quite popular in America with collectors. We had Beatinator, obviously by Rockstar. People forget Rockstar done Beatinator on the PSP. Another PSP game. Black Mirror 2 we had. Grid Runner. My Sims Agents. Nothing too much, I don't think, other than that. But no, there was plenty to play at the time. We had some good choices there with a bit of variation on consoles and what we would been.
Yeah, I think there's it's an interesting month because yeah, there was plenty to be stuck into playing, but what Ray's bringing down in his boot is a real smorgasbord of greatness. So
Mm,
looking forward to welcoming the Ray.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think we probably jump onto the news now. We very put my teeth in. We scoured the very darkest back pages of the Game and Mags and even delved deep into the interweb to bring you what was the latest stories in September 2009. First up from Eurogamer, swastika prompts German Wolf recall. Activision taken no chances. Activision has recalled Wolfenstein in Germany, reportedly because you can faintly see a swastika on a poster, which is a big no-no in the country. Although it is not a conspicuous element in the normal game, we have decided to take this game immediately from the German market, is the publisher's translated statement picked up by Kotaku. Swastikas are forbidden in Germany according to its post World War II constitution, and the consequences for the boss of a German company that displays one are pretty serious, potentially including jail time for repeat offences if he or she does not take immediate action. The Nazi symbol can be used in historical or artistic context, but apparently video games don't count. Those dealing with World War II still make it to Germany, but obviously we need to be edited to remove any law-breaking imagery and icons. Now, I'd never heard of this before.
Mm,
I've
it's a
always
big
thought,
thing. It
yeah,
hurt the first Super Nintendo Wolfenstein for that reason.
because I you just didn't think of that, almost in Wolfenstein. Especially on the Super Nintendo one, it's almost they look at it as almost like a comedy way, the game. But actually, when you look, obviously in history, that's a very serious thing, which is obviously in Germany itself is a very sensitive subject. So,
I find it odd though that they're like you can't display it under pain of death. Like I kind of guess it stops an uprising of a new Nazi party using that flag. I kind of understand why you might want to play that down a little bit, but when you wipe something completely from the docket like this, there's no responsibility or maturity or ownership of the situation you've got in front of you. And then to chase down individuals over stuff like this seems a bit ridiculous. Like, is the guy who mistakenly let this slip through, is he a full paid up Nazi? I very much doubt it. And do I think like the children of like Germany might be influenced by a swastika in a game? Maybe, but then if you go and do your research, what kid can come back and not go, yeah, sorry about that. So I've always found it a little bit strange that they've kind of tried to almost whitewash that image from their own history books, when I think I would prefer to have seen some more collective ownership of said imagery. And, if it's hidden like it is and suppressed like it is, it almost becomes something to chase. It has an allure to it. It's the hidden
mm,
fruit. So I don't quite understand how they've decided to make it the hidden fruit. Uh, To me, this is ridiculous, and in
I
a
think it
way,
might be the way you've explained it there. It might be sort of downfall of their own actions because this was very faintly, obviously, on a clip that they'd used for a bit of propaganda, and this is snuck in and got past, quality control. But because it's in that area you have to really search and probably find for and put the camera on a slight tilt and stand on your head to see it, that's probably got that allure to find it. That's probably why they wanted it taken out, but it's probably of their
mm,
own doing, that because people are wanting to find it. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, also, if they've recalled these games, I wonder if, obviously copies went out. I mean, is there like a rare number of copies that have this still in the game, or
I wouldn't know. I mean, yeah, what do they do when they play Call of Duty in Germany? What are they shooting at? Who are they shooting at? I don't get it. I do get it. I kind of understand that a lot of emotion was put into it, but so many generations on, I think it's probably better as an education piece than it is a chastising piece.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
it's almost like, oh, that never happened. It's almost like that never happened in Germany. Don't mention the war. You know, the famous Monty Python thing, don't, or John Cleese, Fawlty Towers thing, don't
Mm,
mention the war. And ever since war, it's been a bit like that. How are the
mm,
German people ever going to take, accept, not that modern German people need to accept or take responsibility for any of it, but nor does anyone anymore. But when these laws were made, it was obviously a big moment, and a lot of the population of Germany was still of an age that would have survived the war and or been involved in it. So yeah, it's a mark of respect, but equally so, we didn't delete it here, and certainly more British people died than German people as a result of the. This is where I get messaging. Actually, George, you'll find that the German people were, yeah,
mm,
all right. It's messy, but far more people were killed outside of Germany under the guise of that flag than were in it. So.
mm,
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of RGT. Like I said, I've been aware of it for some time because of that whole Wolfenstein debacle, and I
mm,
think the SNES version was completely just cleansed of all images. So it was a very watered down Wolfenstein that I played on the SNES compared to the one I was playing on the 286 at dinner time at school on the PCs, which
mm,
was the full Nazi press.
mm. Yeah, it's weird because it's that rare time when politics and history interferes with video games, which are supposed to be a form of entertainment, and lines and borders get crossed as to what's right and what isn't. And, there'll be people saying, well, that's artistic representation and they should be able to do what they want. But on the other hand, it's a sensitive subject that people, especially in Germany, don't want to see. And it's that crossover to what's right and what's wrong. And unfortunately, Wolfenstein's in the middle of it. Now, you can say, well, they shouldn't have chose that subject, but then why shouldn't they choose a subject? So it's a funny,
No, there was a story to tell there, so in their eyes anyway. And
yeah,
let's face it, Wolfenstein get too close to the screen, you're just looking at a load of like Minecraft blocks, aren't you, really?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. It's a strange one, but I put it in because it's that, like I say, it's that unusual time when politics and gaming meet, and you know who's offended, who ain't, what's right, what's wrong, and yeah, an awkward time for them with Wolfenstein anyway. But what we got up next then, George?
well, next, also up from Eurogamer, we've got music games are crap, says Bunnyman. Wow, sounds like a UCP news article. Hopes players gets electrocuted. Wow,
Yep,
simmer down, Ian.
that's a strong one.
Yeah, Echo and the Bunny lead singer Ian McCulloch has dismissed music games as crap and wished instant death on everyone who plays them. McCulloch, who admits to not owning a computer and recording his demos on cassette, was speaking to occasional Eurogamer contributor Steve Hill during an interview with Esquire. Asked if he was aware of games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, he claimed to have once seen somebody trying to play one. The opinionated McCulloch, famously dubbed Mac the Mouth, then offered to sum up the phenomenon in one sentence. Goaded by Hill, their singer replied, I hope they all get electrocuted because they shouldn't be playing with that crap. McCulloch was taking part in an interview to promote the Bunnymen's forthcoming album, The Fountain. It seems unlikely that tracks from it will be available as downloadable content for music games, and you can read the full article over on Esquire. If that link would even still exist, I do not know. Um, RGT, another interesting bit of news. Obviously, a man from a relatively successful 80s, 90s band has come in and said he doesn't want anything to do with this. Fair play, Ian. I think what you're missing here is a hell of a lot of revenue in your back pocket,
Yeah,
fella.
that's what I was
And
thinking. Yeah,
you're missing out on probably, you know, that new car, that new garage, that new house in LA that you've always dreamed of, just by putting your games in Guitar Hero songs in Guitar Hero Rock Band. I doubt they'll come a knocking for a Bunnyman song, but you never know, RGT.
yeah. You don't. I think it's. I don't know if this has just been clipped by him. There was probably more to it. He might have been joking, having a laugh, saying, "Oh, I get electrocuted with that crap." Obviously,
It's hard to know. Context in written dialogue, in written conversation point like this, you lose the nuance.
yeah, and he also, from what we hear from this, it sounds like someone who thinks games are for kids and all games are crap. Because they're not into it, it's rubbish. And it's another one of them. But like you say, I wondered if he did find out what the royalties were for putting your song in Rock Band or Guitar Hero, and maybe Ian might have changed his mind.
Oh,
But
I'm sure he found a reverse gear when the payday came a knocking.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if there was any Echo and the Bunnymen. There we go. Comment down below if you do know if Echo and the Bunnymen appeared in any of the the Guitar Hero Rock Band games. But yeah, this just made me laugh. That I mean, I'd like to say I don't know if he'd had a few sherbets when he done this or what. I don't know, but saying that he hopes they get electrocuted is slightly harsh. If it was a meaningful,
Sounds like the sort of thing I'd say.
exactly. But I just thought, wow, there wasn't much to this conversation. I wouldn't imagine that you thought they'd had gone backwards and forwards. And have you played this? No, it's not really my thing, but I hear it's popular. No, just get electrocuted. They're crap.
It's strong, I have to
Yeah,
admit.
and
But
also he's missing out the chance that I know a lot of people that found bands through games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
that is true.
I found loads of bands through Tony Hawk's.
Mm.
Punk bands and bits and pieces, and yeah, absolutely amazing. And you just thought you could have really, even if you just put one song in, you'd have probably had people buying your back catalogue from that. But there we
100%.
go. Yeah, seems a shame. And yeah, it'd be interesting to find out. So let us know if you know if they had any songs in, because that'd be awesome if you did do a bit of a reversal and he got a nice little check for the post. Um, our final bit of news, also from Eurogamer. Tim Schafer is 20 years old or something.
Oh wow.
Designer designer celebrates getting jobs, etc. We missed this the other day, but we wouldn't want you to miss it too. Double Fine's Tim Schafer has celebrated his 20th anniversary of getting into the games industry by posting up some rejection letters and reminiscing about getting a job at Lucasfilm. The letters are scanned in on the Double Fine website. Man, what an egomaniac. Wow. Starting with his rejection by Atari in March 1989, your qualifications have been carefully reviewed, the real Atari once wrote. However, in relation to our current needs, we are unable to offer you a position. Things didn't improve for Schaefer when he tried it with Hewlett Packard, apparently inspired by Kurt Vonnegut's thing about writing at night while working at General Electric, who fobbed him off with a line about tough hiring controls. I used that one when my sister asked to borrow money.
Hmm.
Fortunately, Lucasfilm eventually saw something in him for the role of assistant designer programmer, despite Schaefer accidentally owning up to video game piracy in the telephone interview and sending in a cover letter in the form of a semi graphic adventure, which is also included on the website post. So, what advice does Schaefer have for people trying to get a job in the games industry these days? If I can get a job in the game industry, anybody can. Not at my company, of course. I would never hire somebody as unqualified as I was. I was lucky finding people smarter than me. Um, Smarter than me is so easy. And in closing, don't do what I did. It all worked in the 80s. The next game Schaefer's involved in is Brutal Legend, which is due out for PS3 and Xbox 360 on the 16th of October 2009. Check out our recent preview to see what the old man lunatic's been doing with it. Um, yeah, this one I was reading when I was researching, and I just thought you always think of Tim Schafer as just one of them creative people that just jump straight into games.
Yeah.
But obviously, things were different then. We know about obviously the micro computer industry here in the 80s, and that was literally if you can code a game, put it on a cassette and send it into a company. It's almost like being in a band and sending a demo in, and you were hired. And this seems a bit like that as well. You didn't really have computer courses or programming courses in the day. You just needed the knack of doing it. And Tim obviously just tried this way, just sending letters in until something stuck and it worked. But it make you wonder if a lot of these companies look back now and think, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. We should have maybe took him on. Um, Such a different time to the modern day, though, George.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to remember about video games. It's a multi-billion dollar enterprise now, probably multi-trillion dollar enterprise now, really, if you add it all up, and the wide gamut that video games touches, or the classification of video games touches. But if you wind it all the way back to those early days of home computing, post the Atari boom, and even really including the Atari boom, because some of the developers that were making games for Atari were literally knocking up games in an afternoon. And there are a lot of like young kids in the UK scene, like the Bedrooms to Billions scene, where they would be creating and coding games in their spare time. some of the mega hits that are known in the industry now were coded over a cheese and onion sandwich, I would imagine, in
The
a back
Darlin
bedroom
Brothers
in
and that, and
in a back
Codemasters
bedroom in
and
Dagenham somewhere, and they went on to become maybe the founding fathers of the industry that are still involved in it now. I'm pretty confident a lot of those sort of backroom coders secured jobs. You've only got to look at people like Argonaut and their attachment to Nintendo.
the
You know,
Stampers
all
and Rare and
yeah, all those
Oliver
backroom
Twins and
coding boys that
mm,
have gone down as like the founding fathers. And without them, where would the industry be now? I think it would be probably less well off. And those founding fathers, as RGT points out, become like unique pop-ups at video game events around the UK. If you can always add a bit of credibility by getting in one of the Rare boys in, or getting the team behind Rare in and sitting them up on a stage and talking about the games. These are the guys that, 10, 11 years old were sat up until midnight coding these games in, or experimenting with the actual code of BASIC, and that evolved into C plus or whatever it's called. And yeah, Tim Schafer, he's had an interesting journey through gaming, from his backroom designs to working at Lucasfilm with games like Secret of Monkey Island and Dare Tentacle, probably Full Throttle and things like maybe Grim Fandango. Let me know if I'm right. And then over across to Double Fine, a game I was talking about not that long ago. Psychonauts blew me away with its kind
mm,
of like forward-facing kind of acceptance of how games are played, and the way that the controls and setup of the game and saving of the game was kind of woven into the narrative of it. Very, very clever. I've also talked about, Brutal Legend, a game that, from the moment I put it in the console, felt like a really grade A product. You got Jack Black doing the intro, and the way that you scan through the menus is an album from, heavy metal history that's like this hidden Brutal Legend album that no one really knows about unless they're a real rocker. And you go then into the game and it pulls you into the album. And there's a lot to be said about this man's either artistic integrity, his kind of way he involves the game, or the way he tries to, even in those sort of Lucasfilm attempts, where he kind of like tried to make the game more of an event, or more of something than it was. He was dealing with like point and click adventures, but he probably set the standard for how those go down ever since,
mm.
basically. The guy's a legend, to be fair. I mean, it's a little bit sad news moving this out of 2009 to the modern era, that obviously Double Fine took a little bit of a kick in off the back of Microsoft shedding studios they acquired as quick as they picked him up, sort of thing. And I do believe Tim's been able to secure him and his team's future. I do believe he's had to do some layoffs to make that happen as well. But this was a high moment for him, where he was kind of reflecting on not only his own studio but his kind of limited beginnings.
Mm.
To his point, oh, don't do what I did. It only worked in the 80s. He's 1,000% correct.
Oh God, yeah.
Getting into the industry in those days was a little bit more open. You still needed to know your stuff. You needed to still be talented artists, but
Yeah, oh yeah, you
the
had to be self-taught talented artists. There wasn't
yeah,
courses to do nowadays or trainee courses. You needed to go in and say, I can do this. Right, you're in. Simple as
yeah.
that.
So it was more of a capability thing, where there was very limited capability on the ground or in the employment pool.
Mm.
So Tim is a great example of that coming through, and then sort of establishing himself into a top tier studio at the same time, quite rightly. Like I say, a little bit in the very recent times, a little bit of like disappointing news for him and his team. But they live to fight another day, and Psychonauts 2 went down pretty well. So yeah, interesting time.
Yeah, I think as well he's one of them, which is very much a dying breed now, because we we think of game companies as a whole now. We don't tend to get the names, your Neil Druckmans and that, and are fading away fast. And the thing I liked about Tim Schafer is he reminds me, similar with David Cage. He had a
Mm.
creative vision, and that's what he was doing. He wasn't going to be pushed into a genre or anything. And Tim Schafer, I always liked, he always said his main goal in a video game is to make a creative, story driven game with no cutscenes. It's that interactive that you don't need cutscenes, and it's that good a story. And I always just thought
Perfect.
that was always his number one goal, and that's what he's tried to do. And I just think, how good is that? You have an aim, and the tech might not be there yet, but that's what you're aiming to do. And I just thought that's a fantastic
I
vision.
think a lot of those, to spin off that word, visionaries, um, were trying to do things ahead of the technology, but they kind of knew the vision that they needed. Now is the time where maybe the vision can be fully realized,
Mm,
but now there's different draws on them, like money and time and corporate responsibilities. I mentioned a few weeks ago there's not many auteurs left in the gaming industry, not properly that we know. Tim Schafer, let's add him to the list. David
mm,
Cage, Schafer, Kojima, you know,
yeah,
Miyamoto,
Druckmann.
Druckmann to a lesser degree, in my humble opinion.
Mm,
He's a fantastic writer and his games have been good, but I think we need to see one or two more successes out of Druckmann, solidly attached to Druckmann alone,
mm,
for that to Last of Us, massive success. Last of Us 2, massive success. A little bit maybe grating to some people, I think, for the wrong reasons. But yeah, I mean, Druckmann, I say to a lesser extent, just because I want to see more from him.
mm,
If you want a video game that made you feel something, Last of Us 2 will make you feel a whole range of emotions.
mm.
Um, and then
Problem is, though, I
critically
think,
reassess them at the end.
especially with Druckmann nowadays, games are taking sometimes up to 10 years to create. So
I'll
you
wait.
yeah, you're very limited as to your actual back catalogue, aren't you? But I know what you mean. If Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophecy, whatever it's called, if
Correct.
that
Yeah,
if
that's
that
its
if
name.
that hits the ground running, then we'll never know. But no, you're right.
If that hits the
Um,
ground running, I will retrospectively deploy him also as an auteur.
hmm. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you don't
I mean,
see.
but if you're bringing in Druckmann, you got to then bring in what Corey Balrog or someone like that.
Mm,
You got to head over to Bungie and start pulling in people from there. The auteur thing I think is the vision. Druckmann's in on a technicality right now,
mm,
pending Intergalactic Prophecy hitting and landing.
mm.
How's that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Definitely,
Fine.
I'll take
Let
that.
him know. I'm sure he'll be buzzing.
I'll give him a ring in a minute when we finish recording.
Should
So.
make him try a bit harder on Intergalactic Prophecy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows if we're not happy on Flashback, he's going to knuckle down and put an extra shift in.
I mean, look, if you're trying to roll him in, you've got to roll in someone like Cliffy B, who's not even in the industry anymore, but like rocked out 3 or 4 games that were second to none, launched a franchise. Heck, he even
Yeah,
made Jazz Jackrabbit for God's sake. So,
yeah.
is he an auteur? I think he is, but someone that got burnt out by the industry, went off to make his own game, and then got absolutely crushed, bless him, during the Fortnite push. So, yeah, we'll review Druckmann in
Yeah,
18 months' time.
yeah. I think, and also Druckmann's probably you know, one of the ones a bit like Schaefer's one of some of the last ones standing at the moment for
Mm.
their games are a dying breed now. Um, would there be many more games like that? I don't know. I think we're more of a corporate quick cash live service sort of games now. So I don't know if we'll see many more. But anyway, I go off piste. Tim Schafer, an absolute legend. Brilliant to see, you know, his little employment history and how he got eventually got into the industry, and we're so glad he did for the hits he has had. Um, but yeah, that brings us to the end of the news, George. Quite an interesting little smorgasbord of news there
Fantastic,
from
RGT. Well done.
2009, from banned swastikas in Wolfenstein in the German version of the game to Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen saying he hopes you get electrocuted if you play musical games
I hope you
because
do.
they're crap. Right on to finishing up with what we just talked about Tim Schafer and how he got in industry and all the knockbacks he had, but he still got there eventually. And like I say, we're glad he did. But I think it's now time for what we affectionately call Stingway's Boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy for Battle for Endor is some of the new releases for October 2009. Spring Stock. Wow, whoa, whoa,
Mm.
whoa, whoa. How you seeing the Ray this week then, Georgie
I'll
boy?
be honest, Ray stepped out pretty bold. He's stepped out. He's blurred and obscured, but I can tell from my historic eye that he's come dressed as Joseph Goebbels, head of propaganda for Hitler. Pretty realistic looking fella, to be honest with you. When I peer through the pixelation, I can't pick you apart. Have you brought your son with you? Of course he has. Little Wayne, he's rocked up as miniature Hitler. How are you, Adolf? Absolutely fun. Let me have a little look at you. That moustache is banging, Wayne. Yeah, spot on. So they've come, despite the German ban on the Nazi Party, they've come with a blur, but push past that, and they are damn photorealistic copies. Although young Wayne, I don't think Adolf was a tall man, but obviously young Wayne's pushed that to the outer limits. He's only 18 inches tall, is our young Wayne, and he's come dressed as the Führer. Nice, yeah. Yeah, interesting. How are you
Mm.
seeing him? Because I did notice, I don't know if people will pick up on this, when they came down the drive, it was, hopefully this will make it into the audio recording. It sounded like a Stuka dive bomber, which like made me a
Oof.
bit on edge.
It's put
But
me a bit on edge. I know that. Mm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that howl, I knew it was edgy, but I
Mm.
can't be held responsible for how he turns up.
No, no, you can't, unfortunately. Um, well, for me, he's just done a 360, 180. He's done a handbrake. He's reversed round, done a J turn. Oh,
Oh,
he's in a Subaru. Oh, he's
of
in the dirt
course.
Subaru. Oh man, let's see what he gets out. Oh, I thought he'd be in like a racing suit and a hat. No, he's in a mountaineering costume.
Oh
Oh,
God.
oh wow. But why is he holding a massive Wiimote? Oh, it's from Cursed Mountain. Oh, where's Wayne then? Where's Wayne, right? Oh, it's the Wiimote. Oh, no wonder it's so big. Oh, so Wayne's
It
the
was 18
Wiimote.
inches.
Yeah, well, still a big Wiimote. I mean, you won't
Yeah,
walk
you wouldn't want to park it somewhere, would you? It'd definitely make your eyes water.
exactly. I was going to say clumped round the head, but yeah, not that show, George. But
You interpret what you want to interpret, pal.
mm, but yeah, so Mountaineer, Subaru, Wayne is a Wiimote, absolutely stunning. What are you picking out the boot then?
Um, Listen, mate, there is absolutely loads in here. He's done an
There is.
absolute banging job.
Should we
Um,
pick two and then we'll do some honourable mentions we'd like to get maybe?
all right, all right, all right. Well, I'll pick up Buzz Quiz World with
Oh, I was going to
the
grab that. Oh,
fine, leave it there. I'll pick
no,
up
no, have
the
it. No, you have it.
right,
You have it. You have it.
okay.
You have it.
I'll
You
pick
have it.
up Buzz Quiz World, PlayStation quiz game. I've had lots and lots and lots of fun with the family on this. I've got the PS3, comes in a little blue presenter box with like a silk inlay with the four buzz remotes in and the game in it, and then a
Mm.
card slip over the top of it. Very nice to look at, but a great way of getting them, getting the game up and running. You stick your PS3 iToy camera in there, or the what was the PS3 camera called? RGT.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like the Move camera or something like that.
Something
You
like that. Yeah, yeah.
you plug that in and stick that on as well, and it will take snaps of you during the game and then display them up at the end. So really great package. The other game I want to pick up, which is on the PSP, is Gran Turismo 2009.
Oh,
A little different to your average Gran Turismo in the fact
yeah.
that you don't play through it in the traditional way, but it's still a really fun game, and it's an interesting way to have made it in your pocket and pick up and play.
Mm.
So less commitment to
It literally is a pocket
like
version of Gran Turismo, and it's scaled down,
it
but it's
is.
still very good for a
Look,
handheld.
the driving dynamics are absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic, and it makes
brilliant.
great use of the PSP's nub.
Oh, you can't see this, listeners, but the determination on his face when he had to come into the microphone, raise the eyebrows, and go, "Nope." Brilliant.
That little nub, and I promote playing with the nub. I really do. It's going to make you a great partner. But yeah, the mm.
Oh dear, oh dear. He's dragging the show down.
Do. Check the listening date. Look, check the age demographic. It's totally fine. They're going to be okay with this. Going to be like, yeah, RGT, let him have a little bit of fun. Um, but the Gran Turismo PSP is, came relatively late towards the end of
well, mid to end cycle of the PSP itself, and a great game to pick up. Probably the best place to play it was on Vita, but seeing as that was due to licensing removed about 4 years ago from there, and the store's shutting down, yeah, probably
Oh
a bit
yeah,
of
I
a
didn't
death
think
knell.
about that playing it on the Vita.
Your
Hmm.
opportunity's long since gone, friend, unless you're
I
willing to
didn't.
hack the
Yeah,
living
because that
daylights out of it.
was that like the PSP Classic sort of thing on the store? Was it?
Yeah, it was. When I first got my Vita, it was there, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going to get it on PSP. And then by the time I realised, actually, no, I ought to be playing this on the Vita, it was gone.
Damn,
I'm
that's a
sure the
shame.
licensing agreements on the cars ran out, and therefore they had to delist it. So there's another reason why you got to grab these things physical when you can. So I'm limited to the PSP version. It's original place and the only place to really play it.
Hmm.
But yeah, fun game. Definitely something. As I said, this is Ying to Arctic Edge's Yang at the top of the show.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah.
But still equally as pick up and play. A lot more serious. You're not going to get away with some of the crazy antics you do there. You've kind of got to follow the rules of the road in Gran Turismo, as you know. But yeah, compelling enough racer. Not much of a challenge, I would say, in terms of the AI. Sometimes that can be a bit frustrating. It's, you kind of playing the same. There's only so many circuits, and you kind of play them through time and time again with different cars to earn different money. And the store in the PSP version is kind of different because the cars aren't always up.
Hmm.
You kind of have to keep logging on, which brings in that pick up and play aspect again. With like, oh, I better just have a quick look at
Hmm.
what cars I can grab now, because you can't
Yeah.
always get the cars you want on Gran Turismo handheld on PSP. But yeah, a great little package. What have you got, good sir? What are your two games?
Obvious one for the first one. Probably one of the greatest games ever made. Is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
Wow.
Yeah, best, or one of the best opening scenes in a game ever made. So yeah, come at me in the comments because I know people who saying, "Oh no, you don't know." Well, whatever. I love it. We've also, there were so many good games on here, George, to pick. I had a bit of a list here. I'm probably going to go with Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time. Um,
I thought you might go for that.
just, I mean, I know there's better versions of Ratchet and Clank, there's lesser versions, but you still know what you're going to get, and they're just good fun. The controls always tight. They're just great games, Ratchet and Clank, and again, PS3 as well. They look good on there, they play well on there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ratchet and Clank: A Cracking Time. What about honorable mentions then?
Oh, let's go crazy because I know this seems outrageous, but I think this game deserves it for the amount of copies it's shifted. It's Wii Fit Plus. Um,
Mm,
Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising was an interesting idea by Codemasters in terms of making the game much more bigger in scale. So that's a large warfighting game. Uh, I think Battlefront, but simulation based. Demon Souls, um, which is the PS3 version. Also want to put a shout out to Brutal Legend that we talked about, Shim Schafer's game. Tim Schafer's game, Brutal Legend, October 13th, 2009. Way of the Samurai 3, a game that I think I still need to acquire. I played Way of the Samurai 1 and really quite enjoyed it, 3 to completion, and I've had a play with 2, but 3 on the PS3 does sing to me. Quick reference to Steins Gate, depending on where you're from. Obviously, one of the big games at the time, Borderlands, doing some good numbers. Um, and I probably ought to rest it there so I don't completely kill what you're going to choose, RGT.
I'm gonna jump in with DJ Hero. I had
Hmm,
so many hours of fun on DJ Hero. It gets a bit overshadowed Big Guitar Hero, but
it
DJ
does.
Hero is so much fun. And then
A
you can
freaking
use
cool peripheral, by the way, in a great box.
it is brilliant. I ended up having to buy three of those in the end to get one with an actual working dongle. So if anyone needs a turntable, hit me up. You can have one. The dongle's the thing you need, and you can't use a Guitar Hero one. You need the DJ Hero one. But you can use it on the PS2 and PS3. So you can use the
Hmm.
PS, you can play, yeah, you can play the PS2 games and the PS3 games. But so much fun, DJ Hero, and the way you mix your tracks, and it's so well done. That's another one, mate. Get your mates round, get that turntable on your lap, get yourself a couple of beers and away you go, just making up different songs and playing through the game. Brilliant fun. Obviously we had Bayonettas, or the Bayonetta when that first came out. Obviously successful hack and slash series. What else did we have? Oh, Forza Motorsport 2, 3, sorry, was out. Forza Motorsport 3. Again, they were then hitting their stride then, 1 and 2, and they were starting to trying to be the Xbox version of Gran Turismo. And I'll tell you what, if you're an Xbox only user at the time, I don't think you'd have been disappointed. Great games. What else do we have? FIFA 10.
SingStar take that.
Yeah, SingStar again. They were getting licenses all over the place, weren't they?
I got a fist of pure emotion.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Get your lipstick mark still on the coffee cup.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. I know people like those games to play. Quite addictive again. iPet we had. I mean, Star Wars.
What about this
Clone Wars?
FIFA Manager 10? Is that something you'd have picked up? I don't know if that's PC or what.
No, not really. I know there was a time as well. Pro Evo done a Pro Evo management. They both tried to jump into that management and it just didn't work. And
Well, they ended up rolling that into the main game, really.
But the main
didn't they?
game in career mode is you're managing and playing the games.
Exactly.
So it was a bit nullified. I mean, they've sort of left that to Premier Manager and Championship Manager that was, and they were sort of the games of the era.
I suppose the one thing that FIFA had going in its benefit was that they probably used the game engine to display the games that you sat on the sidelines for, which some people may find a little bit more interactive, intuitive, or better storytelling method than dots on the screen.
Yeah, I still think one of the best manager games, and it's basic now, but you can buy it on the iStore and play it still, is Kevin Tom's Football Manager, the Spectrum game. That is such a good game. Very basic, but you have to buy your players and upgrade and win matches and put them in positions for a Spectrum game. So well done, and I think that sort of inspired a lot of management games, but many have tried, but many have failed. That's why you don't see many of them nowadays, do you? But yeah, I think that'll be our games. Anyway, what are you going to pick for a movie from Ray then?
Oh,
have a rummage in the boot.
Yeah, Ray's coming clutch. I've seen this. It's a blue skinned. It's not Smurfs. It's Avatar. So I'm going to take the first Avatar movie.
Oh God, I can't believe that's 2009.
I can't. I'm a bit nervous saying it, but I do believe it is. So thanks, Ray.
I still think the only way to watch that is 3D. Me and the missus watch that in 3D on the 3D telly in a bedroom. It's brilliant in 3D.
Yeah, Ray's coming clutch. He's given me 2 copies, so I can play them on 2 tellies at the same time.
Oh no way! Clever.
It says Squint. He just says Squint.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at that. He's always got an option. Always got an option.
Always.
I'm going to go in with The Hangover.
Oh wow!
Yeah, brilliant film. Hilariously funny. Bit different to Avatar, put it that way. But if Mike Tyson's laying you out, you've got to watch it, really, ain't you?
I think they're the same film.
Yeah. Right, well, that's Ray gone. He disappears up the driveway.
See you, Mind Fury.
See ya. Wow. We'll get on to a bit of housekeeping. Obviously, we talk about UCP, Unofficial Controller Podcast. Don't forget to check that out. Our main show over on YouTube or download of your podcast provider. We're here, there, everywhere. You can also check out the unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com website, rapidly evolving website with reviews and challenges and bits and pieces and what we've been up to, and even find out a bit about us. If you want to give us any questions or speak to us, we've got questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, which is our email. So chuck us a line on anything you want to speak about or about the show, or if you're enjoying it, or do you think we should do something different, just let us know. We've also got a Discord. Jump on there. Let's always go and always chat about games, always doing different challenges. Just a brilliant little community with brilliant people, really. TikTok, you'll see some funny videos that Captain Scarlet clips of us and then chucks on, and normally makes us more idiots than what we normally are, which is quite an achievement in itself. And we've also got Instagram, we've got X, and I think that is about it, isn't it, George? I think we've covered everything. Is there anything you want to add about either September 2009 or anything I've missed off the housekeeping list, or he's thinking? Pulling his funny thinking face. Yes, subscribe. Don't forget to do that. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Please. comment, sub, like,
Please.
all that. All
We
the
beg
use speak.
you.
He's begging. Yeah, but thanks, George, for that. I enjoyed a little look back at September 2009 and realising how many games we haven't played.
How many more we got to add to the backlog of shame to be considered podcasters?
The worrying thing is we probably own all them ones we haven't.
Don't bring your filth in here.
Yours as well. Thank you very much.
No,
Also,
but I don't need reminding of my own failings.
yeah, I'll just say Persona. Oh,
Oh,
yes. Yeah, get on that, son. Carpal tunnel
Oh.
awaits.
That's a gut punch, you swine.
I thought I'd leave you with that. But thanks for joining me again, George.
No
Really enjoyed
issues
that.
at
That was
all.
brilliant. Thanks everyone for listening, for downloading.
Thank you,
Spread the
everyone.
word. Tell all your friends if they're into games. Have a listen to Flashback if you like retro. And just leaves me to say, Flashback to games you loved, the stories you forgot. I'll see you later, everyone, and I'll see you next week, George.
See you guys. I hope you don't get electrocuted playing SingStar. Take care.
Flashback.